Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Boom! There we go. Okay. So it's a not a lot. Yeah, this is great. Okay, so it's a photograph of. I mean, it could be. It looks like rough fabric, but it looks
Mhm.
like it's basically this beige field that looks quite textured, and in the stitching, there's just like let's see, a kind of Princess Leia on the right, and another kind of I don't know other
It's
figure,
Ray.
female holding a
Yeah,
staff. Ray, of course, Ray. Sorry. And it
that's
says
okay.
a woman's place is in the resistance, and of course, anchoring it in Star Wars. Is this a cushion? Is this a blanket? Is it? There couldn't be a blanket. But
It is something that my friend, so during the pandemic, she learned to cross stitch. And so she
there you
made
go.
these little cross stitch pictures for us. She framed them and then she gave
Mm,
them to us for Christmas. And it was kind of fun because she was like, we have kind of a group of four of us. And she'd be like, hey, what do you think this person would like? I know she likes Star Trek, but what characters do you think would be best? Tapping into my
yep.
nerd. And so this really just kind of embodies what, first of all, I want to get off in my writing. And second of all, just embodies what kind of started me on this journey is, like I said, the Star Wars, Princess
Yep.
Leia, women having agency and just stepping up and being in the thick of
Yep.
it. It means a lot to me because it also reminds me of how writing can be a lonely journey if you let it be. But,
Mm-hmm.
these friends have really helped me through the ups and downs. Like when you see that bad review come through and you're like, oh my gosh,
Yep.
I'm the
Yep.
worst writer ever. I should just stop what I'm doing.
Right.
And when I have an event or if I go somewhere and sell books, they show up and cheer me on. And it's
Oh, that's
just
so nice.
that reminder that there are people out there. You are not alone. And as a writer, you
Yep.
shouldn't be alone. Find
Mm.
that group that helps, that can be your cheerleaders when you are stuck in a writing block, who
Yep.
can maybe give you some feedback on your writing and really help you get to that next level. So I
Mm.
love this because my friend handcrafted it for me during
Yeah,
the
it's great.
pandemic when we were all
So
separated,
sweet.
and then gave it to us all just kind of as a reminder of that interconnectedness and whatnot. So I have this sitting up, on one of my bookshelves, and just I love looking at it. It's just fun. It makes me smile every time.
It's super bright. It's super fun. It's like when people who want to see the image or to see this sort of illustration on with fabric or cross stitching, check it out because it's got a cartoony aesthetic, which is kind of nice. And also this idea of a woman's place is in the resistance. Now, how do you feel about what today is like in terms of the kind of conversations or the consciousness or perceptions or what's allowed and how do you feel in terms of the limitations that are there or barriers?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of barriers are really kind of being slowly pulled down, just kind of like
Okay.
little brick by little brick. We see so much more diversity in the writing. You see so many more characters, sexual orientation, colors, all this stuff. We're finding so much more in mainstream writing, and I find it so exciting because,
Mm-hmm.
like I wanted to see more female characters in my work. So many other people wanted to see themselves in things as well. And we've been so dominated by, certain aesthetics that it's just so
Mm-hmm.
exciting to see how this industry is kind of changing and growing and really becoming more inclusive of all
Mm-hmm.
different sorts of people and places. And I love finding these books, say, about that are based on African folklore or whatnot, that really bring in a whole other cultural aspect that I feel very naive about. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really exciting where we're going. I love that there are so many of these books out there, and it
Mm-hmm.
gives so many new people a different way to share their voice. When people
Yeah.
ask for writing advice, sometimes I'll say, you are the only one who can tell your story. You're the only one with your
Yep.
voice, your perspective, who can share this moment, this event, this feeling. So get it out there because you're the only one who can tell it. And it's really
Mm-hmm.
nice that we have so many other people being able to tell their story too. So
Yep. Yep.
I'm always excited. I'm always on the lookout for new books that are coming out.
Yeah.
So
Every once in a while, it is that feeling of excitement when you see something that kind of shocks you to go like, I so didn't expect that, especially as an author. Basically, it's wherever your mind could possibly fall into and go into, and you're bringing the reader along. This idea of pushing your imagination and expanding your imagination. So it's true, like having real diversity just makes the stories so much more interesting. It's kind of like, I love that feeling of seeing something and go like, I could never have imagined that the story would go this way, you know? And
yeah,
I find that, yeah, that is really great.
I saw this really amazing TikTok, and I love blending different elements. And this person was showing she was on point shoes, but then she stepped down and her point shoes also had taps on them. I'm like, you're
Okay.
doing
Okay.
ballet and tap. My mind is
Amazing.
blown.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an example of like how I love this blending that's happening. I
Yep.
never would have thought
Yep.
of that. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So I think to really kind of push the boundaries, yeah, you could try psychedelics or whatever, but to actually consciously be able to sort of push the boundaries of your own experience and your own imagination is very difficult. And your biography is in between the lines of your text,
Hmm.
of your books. So this might be a very strange question, and hopefully it'll be hard to answer.
Oh, okay, okay.
But where would I find the Minnesota in your books?
Oh, okay. That is a good question. Let me think. Well, first of all, the whole opening setting, of course. And we also have, I don't know if you've heard of Minnesota Nice or
Nope.
Minnesota Passive Aggressive Nice. Like we're
Oh, that sounds very Canadian.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So we're very agreeable, but
Yeah.
sometimes, we don't like to get into a lot of arguments. So you'll find many of my
Hmm.
characters sometimes kind of shy away from getting angry. And I think that's where some of that Minnesota nice comes in. I have one character, Wit, she's very passive to start, and she just kind of wants to agree and go along with the flow. We don't want to make waves. We just want to, find out what's happening. And eventually she begins to speak up more and find her voice and find her strength. But, at first, here in Minnesota, it's all, like I said, Minnesota nice. We want to
Okay.
be very open and pleasing and, like I said, not making waves and just wanting to make everybody happy. So it's about finding that inner strength.
Right. But it's also the stuff of socialization, right? Like
Hmm.
you can't, if you're always abrasive,
Yeah.
that's a certain type in a certain way. But unfortunately, like, is that really the best way of having I mean, it's a difficult environment. And so if you had conflicts of, of strong personalities, it's
Hmm.
kind of like, I'm only going to see you once every 2 weeks. I don't want to necessarily hurt you.
Well, let me tell you, I hate conflict. It
Okay.
makes me cringe. I try and shy away from it, and I think I get it from that Minnesota nice. And I think also
Okay.
it's like sometimes you just need to say your opinion, and it's okay.
Right.
They might not like it, and that's okay.
And here's what I love about you saying this, because the image framed right next to your face as you're talking about this is a woman's place is in the resistance. So what is the resistance? Is the resistance passive aggressiveness? Like, what is the resistance? Is it hard power? Is it soft power? Like, how do you understand what the resistance means?
I think it's really taking a stand, finding what something means to you, and really sticking to it. So,
Right.
like we are against this evil superpower blowing up Alderaan. We are going to stand against that because it's
Mm,
it's right for humanity and the universe itself. We're trying to preserve life, and so it's really finding that place where you take a stand, and that's okay. And I think
mm,
sometimes it's hard for people to just be like, you know what, your opinion is different, that's okay. I can still be
yeah.
friends with you if you like this thing and I don't. So I would
Mm,
say with that picture, finding, A Woman's Places in the Resistance. It's about finding your voice and letting yourself
Yep.
be heard.
I love that the expression is like a half smile. It's very kind of cheeky. Yeah, I'm holding a gun. I'm holding it's kind of cheeky.
Yeah,
It says more about your friends.
sense of humor.
Okay. Oh, you want to go to the next photo?
I will mention one thing. I love how you're mentioning
Yes, please
spaces.
do.
My friend who made that, she writes horror, just so you know. So
Ah, of
some
course.
of that cheekiness may come from that horror aspect.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to surprise
Ah,
you every time. So it just made me think of that when you mentioned it.
yeah. Well, Minnesota's churning out the horror
Yeah.
aficionados. I love it. So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting